good.
And I tell you why I brought this wine.
Okay.
Because that's also a memory that I have when I talk about maybe the last thing on this table here. It's called
the magic word PACT. I'm already curious. What the heck is this?
What does PACT stand for? PACT stands for Project Acceleration by Coaching and Teamwork.
Ah, okay.
And that's a certain methodology that we've actually really developed within Siemens, where trained facilitators, people who went through a training.
Do you call them Scrum Masters already, or?
No, we don't. They are PACT facilitators.
I like it better. Yes.
Support a project in the project start phase to do all the planning activities, all the activities around the beginning of a project, what you often do in a kickoff or so, in a very
requirements
condensed
gathering,
stakeholder management, requirements,
business case
time schedules.
So the classical
planning,
facilitating,
work
so
breakdown
Kickstart
structure.
or Sprint Zero
Yes.
workshops.
Yes. So to do that in a very condensed time, the whole project team usually enclosed somewhere in the countryside in a hotel, you know, with this facilitator. And that speeds up the beginning of a project tremendously. It's done with great systematic.
You can shorten your planning cycle.
Absolutely. Invest in the
for
beginning.
weeks if you just say,
Absolutely.
hey, listen, let's co-locate, let's go off-site, let's get everybody involved, and let's nail it instead of having it distributed over weeks and months.
You know, and the result of this whole workshop after 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, depending on the size of the project and the complexity, is then presented to management.
Okay.
And usually includes
in the first gate or something, right?
Target, and say, okay, this is what we want to achieve. This is what we want to reach here. And I will never forget, we had to promote it in the beginning rather the hard way. It took a while until people got used to doing that, because I said, that's so much effort. Why do we do it? Yeah. But I had this one project manager who was to my mind, a brilliant guy, a brilliant project manager in a big, mobility project underground. And there's a picture of him after 3 days of intense work, 10, 12 hours a day. On the last day, he was sitting in this room, and the room was covered in paper because everything was documented by a war room. Full, the whole walls were full. And he was sitting on the floor with his glass of red wine in his hand. It was around midnight, and just looking at his project that will keep him busy for the next years.
Zone,
And he looked so, excited on the one hand, tired on the other hand,
but a
overwhelmed
blissful
somehow.
as well. Overwhelmed, blissful
overwhelmed.
maybe.
And for me, that was the picture I had in mind.
Yes.
And so for me, red wine somehow symbolizes these PACT workshops.
Absolutely. Excellent. You know what? One of my pet peeves is when people take existing old concepts, reinvent them, and give them a new name. That usually annoys me a little bit. But I actually like this. I like this. I like the fact. I like the coaching and was it training? Teamwork. I think this is legitimately. I think it's fair that you guys invented your own word for this.
Because you have teamwork in there as well. So there are lots of the facilitators support the team building experience there as well.
So regardless whether or not you guys have Scrum Masters, facilitators, project office, which has died, that word has unfortunately died, or whatever you call it, this is where the gold is. I for years, this is where I started off. In my career, I started off being one of these people long before I even knew this word. And when I came up in consulting, a lot of people would ask me, what are kind of giveaways, throwaways that you can give me that are cheap, that you won't charge us anything for? And I used to always say, listen, do you have project managers? Yes. Do you have sponsors? Yes. Do your sponsors know what their job is? No. Okay, we talked about that. Then I said, okay, how strategically or financially important are your projects? Vary. It says, do your project managers have a project office or project assistants? And people would look at me and say, what? I've never heard of that. What is that? I said, well, you know that a project manager is not capable of administratively, strategically, and leadership-wise managing a project all by themselves. Yes. And they said, And I said, well, normally, if your project is important, you'll have multiple staff members that support the project manager with meetings, with this kind of stuff. And people look at me all disturbed and say, no, we don't have that. Only board members have assistants. And I said, why do you think board members have assistants? For the same reason. It's impossible for a project manager to maximize the full synergy of a project and do all of this without assistance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the fact that you guys understood this and have given your own name and you're committed to it, I think hats off. I knew why I invited you here. This is good stuff. And I hope you guys out there are listening, because I'm sick and tired of not seeing this in more companies, okay? And the funny thing is, we're talking about things that you say have partly existed, maybe not since 20 years, but a lot of this has existed since 20 years. A lot of you guys need to pull up your boots, your big boy or big girl pants, and get to the table and start thinking of some of these basic things. A lot of the solutions to project management problems have been around for a long, long time. Get on board, learn from other people. This is great.